Silvas,
Where are you? Oh, right there.
Begay, and McKnight.
All right. I'll just go ahead and continue. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Your Honor, this is Court Interpreter Pedro Davis. Mr. Padilla was the one interpreter matter that we had on this morning's list. So if he's not seen by your lead, may I be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
McKnight. Where are you? There you are. All of those have been continued to this evening, except for Begay, who's just been continued for a 30-day review hearing. What?
I think
That's number 4. Yeah, I think I did double check. And then number 2, number 4. All right, good morning. Please state your name.
Camila Felix Sepulveda.
Ms. Felix Sepulveda, this is the time for your initial appearance. Let's see. You are here this morning after being picked up on a warrant for a charge of driving under the influence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing Janet Altschuler to represent you in this matter. And we're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning. And to prepare for that, I have reviewed, let me see, information in the file, including the fact that I've been informed that you're being held on another matter out of Pima County Justice Court, I believe.
It's Santa Cruz County.
Okay, it's Santa Cruz County. All right.
Yeah, but I have been pulled over on it multiple times, and every time they told me that it was non-extraditable, and I don't know what changed this time, but I've been trying to take care of it, but they just tell me that I have to physically be in the county of Santa Cruz to take care of it, and then I don't know what's different this time around that it became extraditable.
Okay. Well, I don't know why. Let me look at this for a second. Oh, so it looks like at this point, it looks like the out-of-county issue is a probation violation. And that may be part of what makes the difference. I don't know if that's what it was in the past or not. But then you also have this matter in Pima County?
One for Pima County. I was never given the option to take care of it because the warrant was issued while I was in federal custody.
Okay.
So I never got the opportunity to take care of it.
All right. So if I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear for your next court date, would you appear for your next court date?
Most definitely.
All right. So that court date is going to be April 25th at 8:30 in the morning. And that is before Judge Cornejo at Pima County Justice Court. If you were to fail to appear for that hearing, given that you were just arrested on this matter, it's likely that another warrant would issue for your arrest out of that hearing. The additional orders are that you do not drive unless you have a valid driver's license, do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. And then since I am not going to hold you on the matter, then I am not going to appoint an attorney to represent you. So you do have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. All right?
Alrighty.
You understand the consequences of failing to appear?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You're excused.
It's going to take into take.
Doesn't work great when I don't have paper under it.
See, that's been right. Yeah, because the 2030 myself, but the other ones, I asked my fans trying to get his way position on them. He said, no, but we notified that he's still not here, so she's getting calling and stop.
Please state your name.
Brian Cesar Reyes.
Mr. Reyes, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here this morning on misdemeanor charges of assault. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Under certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed to represent you, and you always have the right to hire counsel of your choice. It looks like you were also being held on other felony matters. Not before me today. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release in this matter. I am going to order that you're held on a bond of $500. That will be cash or secured. I'm going to order that if you are released, you may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. And your next court date is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. before Judge Cornejo for an arraignment. If you remain in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing. And if you were to be released, then it would be your responsibility to appear. And if you failed to appear, a warrant could be issued for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, I am appointing Janet Altschuler to represent you in the misdemeanor case. Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Christopher Chapman.
Mr. Chapman, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of shoplifting. These are felony charges. from March of this year. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and it is ordered appointing the public defender's office to represent you. And you have counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. It looks like you are being held on charges out of Pima County Justice Court that are not in front of me today. So regardless of what I ordered in today's hearing, you would not be actually released until those matters were resolved. We're going to talk about your conditions of release on these new charges, and I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services about you, which lets me know about your ties to the community and whether you have any felony criminal history and what their assessments and recommendations are. And then I don't see, let me just double check in here. Oh, here it is. Okay. It looks like the state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $30,000. And if you are able to post that bond, that you be released to the custody of pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further? Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard any further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. And the defense.
I would, Your Honor. I'd like to note that I did not receive a complaint from the state in Mr. Chapman's case, so I can't meaningfully address the underlying allegations that the state has alleged in this case. I will note that what the state is recommending, $30,000, is quite a high bond for somebody that is charged with shoplifting. I understand that there's some priors and some history in Mr. Chapman's past, but the fact of the matter is this is not a crime of violence. This is not a crime of domestic violence. This is not something that has endangered the community. What the state has alleged is that he had essentially removed goods from a store. And so while these are serious allegations, we're talking about a class 4 felony. We're not talking about actual physical harm or danger to the community. And so in terms of what the court needs to address here, it's his ability to show up to court and the threat and the danger that he presents to both the community at large and the listed victim in this case. Now, again, I don't know who the listed victim is because I don't have a complaint. But the fact of the matter is we're not talking about physical harm or danger to the community, and I don't think that $30,000 gives Mr. Chapman the opportunity to potentially post a bond and secure his release, which is the purpose of bond. It's not to hold people. It's to give them the opportunity to bond out and have some skin in the game and secure their release. And Mr. Chapman's not in a financial position with $30,000 as a posted bond to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
I think
the state.
if I could just have a moment, Mr. Poston, I did just want to let you know, I think the reason you don't have an interim is that Mr. Chapman was supposed to be seen at a previous IA session, but was not able to be seen at a previous IA session. And so his interim would have been provided at that time, I think, to whoever was sitting in your seat at that session. The charges allege that he took $546.79 worth of merchandise from Walmart and has been charged with shoplifting more than 2 times in the past year. Mr. Poston, is there something else you need to say?
The state would note the fact that he's in custody on other charges, and he's not. And it's not just the 500 and such that he stole this time around. He's got quite a few open charges. He has an extensive history of theft, drugs, trespass, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm ratifying a judgment call made by a colleague previously.
Thank you. I'm going to order a bond of $1,500. That's cash or secured. If you are released, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll be ordered to submit to monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, no contact with the alleged victim. Do not return to the incident location.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Let's see.
Your Honor, when were those next court dates?
Yeah, his next court date is April 25th at 1:30. And if you can still hear me, Mr. Chapman, if you are able to post bond and be released and then fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You're
Yes,
excused.
Your Honor.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Your Honor.
Here you go, Mr. Chapman.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's to us. Thanks, appreciate it.
It's 30, right?
Good morning. Please state your name.
Christian Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, you are here this morning on your initial appearance. Let me see. It looks like you were arrested on a warrant out of Maricopa County, but there are some Pima County charges keeping you here in Pima County as well. Those are not before me today. We're just doing a review hearing of your Maricopa County warrant status. And so what I'm going to do is just set another review hearing in 30 days to determine if you are still being held here in Pima County or to Maricopa County on that warrant. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. You're excused.
30 days.
Yeah, so they're gonna see you, they're gonna take you back.
That's an accident. I'm looking for another. And I'm splitting the doctor. Thank you. I can't see you here, but well, this is pretty bad.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Laura Arizmendi.
Ms. Arismendi, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of possession of drug paraphernalia out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. You are presumed to be innocent, and I will enter a plea of not guilty for you today.
Okay.
We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and if I were to order that you were released on your promise to appear for your next court date, would you appear for your next court date?
Yes, by my word.
Thank you. So I am going to order that you're released on your promise to appear. The additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. And then I am going to consolidate this case with your other cases out of Tucson City Court. Your next court date will be June 6th.
Okay.
June,
So instead of April 30th?
will she have anything set on April 30th currently? Let me look.
Okay.
Let me look and see if you. Yeah, we can do April 30th since you already have that set. I'll change
Okay.
it.
No. Could I have a court on April 30th already? I thought that you were consolidating that court date with this one.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay, then let's do it how you said.
So it'll be April 30th at 2 p.m.
Okay.
That's, this is how it's money probation warrant. Or she fell.
Your Honor, she's being held on a Maricopa County warrant.
Okay.
Can I go to rehab for that?
That you have to talk to some Maricopa County like that. It's you're being tempted to do that on the Maricopa County foreign, and then it's Maricopa. That's the only one.
So then in that case, ma'am, let me just explain to you the options. So if I order that you're released on this case, then you would be released to Maricopa County. And then hopefully you would be able to be released there by your April 30th court date. And I'm not sure what your Maricopa County charges are, so I don't know if you are likely to be released there in the near future. Do you have a feeling about that?
The probation violation?
Okay. All right.
So, I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect of that.
So maybe, counsel, are you willing to have a quick chat with her to see if she would like to be released to Maricopa County or if she would like to be held here to deal with this first?
Sure.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Your Honor, she'd like to remain here to deal with the Pima County case.
Okay. And the earliest date I can give you to be seen on this case is 10 days from now, April 25th. Is that okay?
That's fine.
She hasn't put one yet.
Oh, dang. There's so much whiteout on this piece of paper. Okay. 425. All right. So I am going to appoint the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you in this case. I'll order that you're held on a bond of $50, passive secured. If you remain in custody, your next court date will be April 25th at 1:45 for a video review. And if you were to post bond and be released in this matter, then your next court date would be that April 30th date at 2 o'clock. If you fail to appear for future court hearings, a warrant can issue for your arrest. The hearings can go forward in your absence, including trial. And if you're convicted and then fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand?
Yeah, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Sure. Because she said I think by bail. No. And then we changed from that day and this goes back.
Talk to the city public defender about what that's going to look like. Okay, because I, with the Maricopa County. But
So this, I don't know if this is your question, but if you post bail now, then you would be released to Maricopa County's custody. But I don't know if you have an attorney in that case that you can talk to and see if you can, arrange something else. All right. Your excuse.
Thank you.
Mom, you're gonna go to the break. All the way down the steps.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Becker.
Mr. Becker, this is the time for your initial appearance on failure to comply with a court order. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. And you are presumed to be innocent. I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf today. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and if I were to release you on your promise to appear for your future court date, would you appear on that court date?
Yes.
All right. Then I am going to order that you're released on your promise to appear. The additional orders are that you commit no acts of domestic violence, have no contact of any kind with Ashley Fletcher, do not go to her residence or workplace. And your next court date is going to be May 13th at 1:30. That is for a domestic violence arraignment with Judge Million at Tucson City Court. If you were to fail to appear for that court date, a warrant could issue for your arrest. The hearing can go forward in your absence. That includes trial. And if you're convicted and then fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you. Don't. Oh, yeah. That's it.
Hello,
Good morning. Please state your name.
Rochelle Stone.
Ms. Stone, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of assault and criminal damage. Those are domestic violence offenses. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. You are presumed to be innocent, and I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf today. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. If I were to order that you're released on your promise to appear for your future court dates, would you appear for your future court dates?
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Thank you. So I am going to order that you are released on your promise to appear. The additional orders are that you commit no acts of domestic violence and have no contact with the alleged victim, Paul Stone. Do not go to his residence or incident location. I'm assuming you may have been living at the same place as Mr. Stone.
Let me put it this way, he left
Okay.
the resident.
All right. So if and is that where the incident occurred?
Yes, but he had honestly left.
All right. Are there other people living?
From, no,
All right. So what I'm going to order then is wherever he's living is where you cannot go. Okay. If he's not living there, you can go there.
Yes.
But if it turns out that he is living there,
I have to go.
yeah. But you can return one time with a police escort to pick up your belongings. You would just take my order to the closest police station. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
No problem.
So your next court date is going to be May 13th at 1:30. That's in front of Judge Million for domestic violence arraignment at Tucson City Court. If you fail to appear for that court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. The hearing can go forward in your absence. That includes trial. And then if you are convicted and fail to appear for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. You understand?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Valencia.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Uchil Valencia.
Ms. Valencia, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of driving under the influence. It looks like a warrant was issued in a petition to revoke probation as well. Let's see. I think that is the, well, hold on. Those are the charges that you were on probation for, and a petition to revoke was filed. All right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by counsel. I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. And we're going to turn to your conditions of release now. I am going to order that you are held on a bond of $500 cash or secured. If you are able to post bond and be released, the additional orders are that you do not drive if you don't have a valid driver's license, possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. Let's see. Your next court date, if you remain in custody, will be April 25th at 1:45 for a video review. And if you are able to post bond and be released, then your next court date will be May 19th at 9:30. If you were to fail to appear for court after being released, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused.
So what's happening? Oh, yeah, down the steps, right hand side, please.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Eddie Espinoza.
Espinoza, you are here this morning on an initial appearance for charges of criminal trespass out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. You are presumed to be innocent, and I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf today. Sir, if I were to order that you were released on your promise to appear for your future court dates, would you appear for your future court dates?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to order that you be released on your promise to appear. The additional orders are that you commit no acts of domestic violence, have no contact of any kind with the alleged victim of the trespass, do not go to the incident location. Your next court date is going to be May 12th at 9 a.m. That's before Judge Verena at Tucson City Court. If you were to fail to appear for that court date, a warrant could issue for your arrest. The hearings could go forward in your absence. That includes trial. And if you were convicted and then failed to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you could lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
Used.
Okay. On this, Victor.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Victor S. Fontes.
Mr. Fontes, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of driving under the influence, disorderly conduct, and assault. The disorderly conduct and assault are domestic violence charges. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. And it looks like it's been requested that I do appoint the Tucson City Public Defender to represent you, so I will do that. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today. And before we do that, I will enter pleas of not guilty on your behalf and let you know that you are presumed to be innocent. And then, sir, if I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear for future court dates, would you appear?
Yes.
Quick look at this. Nope, can't do it. All right, so I am going to order that you're released on your promise to appear for your future court date. The additional orders are that you do not drive without a valid license, possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, commit no acts of domestic violence, have no contact of any kind with the alleged victim in the domestic violence cases, and that is Armando Fontes, and do not go to his residence or workplace. Your next court date will be May 12th at 9 a.m. before Judge Verena at Tucson City Court. If you were to fail to appear for court, a warrant could issue for your arrest. The hearings can go forward in your absence, including trial. And if you are convicted and then fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. You understand?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused.
That's the information. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So, Byron. Oh, $100. Oh, Byron. You see, no. Sit right here, my man.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Byron Echo.
Mr. Antone, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of failure to register and failure to have a current Arizona identification. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. We are going to talk about your conditions of release today, and I have reviewed the interim complaint. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services, which would include any felony criminal history, information that you've provided to them, and their assessments and recommendations. I have also reviewed the state's request, and the state is requesting that you be held on a bond of $5,000 and if posted, be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
Yes, Your Honor. This person has absolutely no reason to, absolutely no justification for not registering. Every person in this individual situation is given abundant warning in writing, verbally, and it is made absolutely crystal clear that given their past, they are required to register. The reason that is because the state has determined that this sort of individual is an ongoing risk to society. He is a danger to the community. And what we have is he has failed to do so, therefore increasing the risk that he's not going to register and the state is going to be deprived of the right to know where this person is at all times. Therefore, he is a flight risk and a danger to the community. 5,000.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor, we're going to be asking to release this individual to pretrial services. I think it's important that we give him the opportunity to, present a defense with the assistance of his attorney from the outside rather than here in jail. Obviously, with his living situation, I think the court can certainly understand sometimes the difficulties of, dealing with life on the street on a day-to-day basis, as well as, complying with some of these additional restrictions that, he has to, that are above and beyond what somebody who is housed would have to comply with in terms of the registration requirements, how often he has to do it. The fact is this, it's a difficult thing to comply with. Obviously, he has an obligation to comply with it, and whether the state can prove whether he did or did not comply with it is something that happens at a later date. What I'd be asking for, Your Honor, is release to pretrial services so that he doesn't have to sit in jail while waiting for this case to resolve. I can understand where the state is coming from. I will note that there are no other allegations other than the failure to add the ID and failure to register. And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I think that pretrial services is more than sufficient to ensure that Mr. Antone, participates in his case, attends his court hearings, and, continues to comply. Having that level of supervision, I think, would be important to ensure compliance moving forward. And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I think pretrial services release is more than sufficient in this case.
Thank you. I am going to order a bond. I do see a failure to appear history even on pretrial services. I'm going to order a bond of $500 cash or secured. Pretrial services, if that bond is posted, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. And sir, if you are released, you must report to the Pima County Sheriff's Department Identification Unit at 1650 East Benson Highway within 2 working days following your release from custody. Your next court date will be April 25th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. If you are in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing, and if you have been released, then it will be your responsibility to appear, and if you fail to appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest, okay? Yeah. Thank you. You're excused. His name was Ian Chow.
Come on, Mom.
Yours is this coming up next, I think. Good morning. Please state your name.
Robert Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, this is the time for your initial appearance on a couple of different matters. There's a charge out of Tucson City Court of driving under the influence. And then we have, that's a misdemeanor charge. Then we have new felony charges of possession of a narcotic drug for sale, possession of a dangerous drug for sale, possession of weapons as a prohibited possessor, possession of firearms during narcotic offenses, disorderly conduct, which is a domestic violence offense, and discharging a firearm within city limits. You have the right to remain silent on all of these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney on the felony matters, and I am appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today. We're going to start with the felony charges. And in preparation for that, I did review the interim complaint. I have reviewed information from pretrial services, which includes whether you have any felony criminal history, their assessments and recommendations, and then any information you provided. See. And then I have reviewed the state's recommendation, which is that you be held on a bond of $15,000. If you are able to post that bond, that you be released to the custody trial services. Would the state like to be heard any further?
Yes, Your Honor. We're looking at dealer weights of multiple drugs. We're looking at other indicia of sales. We're looking at multiple weapons and the fact that he's a prohibited possessor. And then we have the fact that he discharged the weapons up to allegedly a half dozen times. This person is a risk to the community. He's peddling these drugs in huge amounts. These are not personal use. He's got a weapon, he's a convicted felon, and he's using said weapon. He is a danger to the community. He has a history of FTA, he has priors, and he's likely looking at mandatory prison time. He's a flight risk. 15,000.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand the court is likely inclined to impose a bond here. The thing that I would like to ask the court to really take into consideration here is Mr. Rivera's financial circumstances. That's something that the court is obligated under Rule 7 to take into consideration, and I would really strongly urge that you do so here. This is a young man who, would not be in a position by any means to afford a $15,000 bond, and that might be, the outcome that the state is looking for here. But what, the whole purpose of bond is to give a person the opportunity to secure their release. And so I asked the court to take into consideration, his age, the fact that, he's working, as I understand it, part-time. And so he's kind of in limited financial circumstances such that he wouldn't be able to afford $15,000. I would really strongly urge the court to consider a bond in the neighborhood of $2,500 to $5,000. That might be something that family members or friends could pull together and put funds together to go through bail bond company and get Mr. Rivera out so that he can, continue to live and work and defend his case with the assistance of counsel from his home, where he's certainly safer and certainly better able to present a defense than he would be if he is to remain here in jail. So for these reasons, Your Honor, I'd ask that you please consider a significantly reduced bond than what the state is asking for here. Give him the opportunity to post that bond and show up to court and participate and have it exonerated at the end of his case, one way or another.
Judge, if the state can have a brief moment to respond to that.
I'm going to order a $15,000 bond. Do you still
Disregard.
need to respond? Thank you.
No.
Okay, yeah, I see the ability to obtain a lot of drugs and firearms. So I am ordering the $15,000 bond. That'll be cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, sir, the additional orders are that you may not drive without a valid driver's license. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not possess any firearms or weapons. If there are any firearms in your possession when you are released from custody, you must surrender those to local law enforcement. You must submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No contact with the alleged victims. Do not go to the incident location.
Yep.
On the felony charges, your next court date will be April 25th at 1:30. That's for a preliminary hearing. If you remain in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing. If you are released, then it will be your responsibility to appear. And if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Charges, we're also going to do your arraignment today. So you are presumed to be innocent. I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf for that driving under the influence charge today. Your next court date for that case, if you remain in custody, will be April 25th at 1:45. It's very close in time to your other case, but if you're in custody, the jail will be able to arrange that you appear by video for both. If you are released on the Tucson City Court matter, then your next court date will be May 22nd at 9:30, and the bond I'm ordering in that case is $50. Also cash or secured. If you fail to appear for your Tucson City Court case after being released from custody, then a warrant can issue for your arrest. The hearing can go forward in your absence, including trial. And if you are convicted and then failed to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. You understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today. I did mark the City of Tucson Public Defender on that one, didn't I? Okay.
Good morning, Good morning, Judge.
Who wants them to? Do they want me to release him from custody? Yeah. Well, all either hold him or release him. Sure. Okay. All right. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, Judge. My name is Taiwan Scott.
Mr. Scott, this is the time for your initial appearance. You're here this morning on charges of robbery, armed robbery, and possession of a weapon by a prohibited possessor. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. Hold on. I don't know if I accidentally unclicked it, but the office he's supposed to have it. It's Scott is the last name. I'm just finding out which defense office is supposed to be appointed to you, sir. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today. And to prepare for that, I have reviewed the interim complaint, which describes the circumstances surrounding your arrest. I have also reviewed the information provided by pretrial services, which would let me know if you have any felony criminal history, that lets me know anything you were able to provide or references about your connections to the community. It includes their assessments and recommendations as well. And then I have reviewed the state's recommendation. The state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $50,000. And if you are able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
Yes, Your Honor. This person is a prohibited possessor, not only out of a 2009 case out of Cook County, Illinois, for which he violated probation. Looks like he may still have a probation warrant out there. Next, we have a terminated probation for misconduct involving weapons and a prohibited possessor by a prohibited possessor case out of 2019 here in Pima County. Next, we have, he is a 4 out of 3. He's a 4 and a 3, and he is alleged to have taken a gun, pointed at the victim, and then had an accomplice take the victim's car. And then the individual drove off with that car. He has no problem acquiring weapons despite being a prohibited possessor. He has no qualms about pointing a gun and stealing a vehicle. He is a danger to the community, Your Honor, and therefore he's looking at probably mandatory prison time with prior felonies, assaultive behavior, $50,000. This man is a risk to the community and is a flight risk.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, I'm asking that you release Mr. Scott to pretrial services. I understand that the state's coming in with a $50,000 bond and, gave us a nice recitation of Mr. Scott's criminal history, which, of course, we all have access to and have read. The issue is here, I think there is a very, there's potential and certainly a quite valid defense of a third party that at this time, just from reading the complaint and, having some information from Mr. Scott, it seems as though, there's going to be more to this story. And so I can certainly understand where the court is coming from, on paper, looking at, some of the things that the state has outlined. I would like to note, though, that, we're looking at two priors, one that is evidently at least 13 years old, if not older. And the last one looks like was misconduct involving weapons and possession. So there's some mental health stuff that was at play at the last case. At the end of the day, Your Honor, Mr. Scott here is a father. He is responsible for the financial well-being of his children. He's working full time. He's got a home to go to. It seems as though the alleged victim in this case is not somebody for whom Mr. Scott is very well acquainted with. It seems as though there is a person involved that Mr. Scott knew and that this alleged victim had apparently been having an argument with. But at the end of the day, it doesn't seem as though Mr. Scott's in a position where he lives around or lives with or knows closely the alleged victim here. And so I don't think that he is a danger to this alleged victim. And I don't think he's a danger to the community at large either. He's somebody who, by his own admission, can be relied upon to show up for court and to participate in his case, and he's asking for the opportunity to do that, Your Honor, under the supervision of pretrial services.
Your Honor, the state is at a loss to figure out how defense of a third party justifies the theft at gunpoint of a vehicle.
Great. I'm going to order that you're held on a bond of $10,000. That'll be cash or secured. You'll be released to pretrial services if released. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. Sir, if there are any firearms in your possession when you are released, you must surrender them to local law enforcement. No contact with the alleged victim. Do not go to the incident location. Your next court date is going to be April 25th at 1:30. That's for a preliminary hearing. If you were to fail to appear for any future court dates after being released, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
So I have
Like my car, yeah, my BMW, Mustang. Okay, it's a 98 for that work. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. While we're waiting for the next person to come up, I am going to call the case of someone who is not able to appear for medical reasons. That is Jorge Antonio Padilla Montano. He has a Nogales Justice Court matter and in another matter as well. Let's see. In each case, I am going to order that he is released on his promise to appear, and his presence this morning is waived. Next court date is April 29th at 9 a.m. In his Pima County Justice Court case, his next court date is May 12th at 9 a.m. And I'm not going to make any further orders or conditions at this time. Good? All right. I did them both. All right. Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Richard Barker.
Thank you. Mr. Bacher, you're here this morning on your initial appearance on a few different matters. There are new felony charges of possession of a narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, shoplifting. There are new misdemeanor charges of shoplifting and criminal trespass. And then there is an older case out of Marana City Court from October of 2023 that was in warrant status for shoplifting as well. You have the right to remain silent on all of these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney in the new felony matters, and I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You always have the right to hire counsel of your choice in the misdemeanor matters, and in some circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today on all of these matters, and it looks like the state is recommending on the new felony charge that you be released to pretrial services, and it looks like you may be eligible for STEPS pre-indictment diversion screening on those new felony charges. The STEPS pre-indictment diversion program does require substance abuse treatment. If you were to be accepted into and then successfully complete that program, it's possible that the state would not go forward with these felony charges. Are you interested in that program?
Yes.
All right, so I will set your case for a steps hearing to determine your eligibility. I believe you only get one shot at that, so you want to appear for that hearing. It's on April 22nd at 9 a.m. I am going to release you to pretrial services on your new felony charges. The additional orders are that you submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, do not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and do not possess firearms or weapons. Your next court, usually we have to set the preliminary hearing within 20 days. However, to give time for you to be assessed and hopefully accepted into the STEPS program, would you be willing to waive that to 45 days? All right. So then thank you. Your preliminary hearing date will be May 30th at 1:30 p.m. If you are accepted into the STEPS program, there's a strong likelihood that that hearing will not go forward, so make sure you stay in touch with your attorney from the public defender's office. However, if that hearing does go forward and you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. So now we'll move on to the misdemeanors. And let's see. On the new misdemeanors out of Pima County Justice Court, I am going to order that you are released on your promise to appear for your future court dates. And you cannot have any contact with the alleged victim. Do not return to the incident location. Your next court date in that case is going to be before Judge Cornejo at Pima County Justice Court. And if you were to fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant could issue for your arrest. And then finally, we have the failure to appear out of Marana City Court. And because you are getting the chance to do the STEPS program, I don't want the Marana City Court case to interfere with that, so I am going to release you on your promise to appear. But because you have already, a warrant had already been issued for you in that case, I want to make it clear that I fully expect that if you don't appear for that hearing, the court will issue another warrant. So you'd be right back in jail if you don't appear. That case is going to be May 14th at 10 a.m. in Marana City Court. You may not have any contact with the alleged victim. Do not return to the incident location. No alcohol or illegal drugs. Do you understand your conditions of release, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused. Oh, let me look at them again.
Bill?
You're welcome. I probably hit the wrong button. Thanks. All right. Okay. Please state your name.
Trey Bill.
Mr. Beal, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of aggravated driving under the influence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney in this case, and I am appointing the Pima County Public Defender to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today. And I have reviewed the interim complaint describing the circumstances surrounding your arrest. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services, which is information that you provided about your ties to the community, anything that could have been verified by a reference. It includes whether you have any previous driving under the influence convictions or felony convictions. And it lets me know what the recommendations and assessments of pretrial services are. I have also reviewed the state's recommendation, and the state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $10,000, and if you are able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard any further?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like the state the state would like the court to pay special attention to the interim complaint that details how incredibly incapacitatedly drunk this person was, or for the sake of propriety impaired, such that the circumstances to speak to somebody who is so incredibly drunk, but still in a vehicle that was running, that was in drive, and this person, the state's at a loss to know what it's going to take to make this person stop driving from driving drunk short of killing somebody. And the state doesn't want to have to be here when this person eventually does kill somebody, because this sort of constant drunk driving, that's the only end game. $10,000.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. We're going to be asking for release to pretrial services here. The reason for that is Mr. Beal has a home to go to. He lives with his father. He's a full-time employed worker. He has worked today. And so obviously, I think we're kind of, the ship has sailed on him missing work today, but he would very much like to return to work, return to home, where his father has already indicated his willingness and ability to ensure that Mr. Beal attends all of his court hearings and provides transportation to and from court to ensure that that happens. So, to address the state's concerns here, again, these are allegations that the state is obligated to prove if it can, and it certainly hasn't yet. And so where we stand today, Your Honor, is we're asking for pretrial services with, whatever drug and alcohol monitoring pretrial services thinks is necessary to ensure that Mr. Beal is not drinking and that he's not driving. And, with those, with those issues under control, with that sort of monitoring in place, then the community is kept safe here. There's no listed victims, so there's no one in particular that the state need to be worried about or the court needs to be worried about. Here it's a question of the safety of the community and his ability to attend hearings and not be a flight risk. He's got a home, he's got a job, he's got family here in town. He's not going anywhere else, Your Honor. And he's more than willing and able to participate with the drug and alcohol monitoring required of him by pretrial services if the court would be so inclined.
Is there an amount of bond he feels he can post?
If I may have one moment, Your Honor.
And while he speaks to his client, the state would just like to report that while there was no specific victim on this crime, the fact is this person was so impaired, they had to basically pour him out of the vehicle. He was having issues with coordinating balance. He was so drunk that he was not able to stand up straight, couldn't perform any SFSTs or the PBT because he was so incredibly drunk. It's only the defendant's fortunate luck that we're not dealing with somebody who's dead today, because this is not his first arrest for DUI. In fact, it's his fourth.
Thank you. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, Your Honor. To answer the court's question, the amount that he might be able to pay at this point would be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 because of his limited financial circumstances at this time.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to order a bond of $5,000 cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, sir, you will be released to the custody of pretrial services. You must submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs. No firearms or weapons. Sir, I'm ordering that you cannot drive. If you are released, you cannot drive at all. Okay? No driving. All right?
How can I get to work?
Oh, it's not legal. Yeah, I'll get it. That's perfect. Give me for 3 minutes.
Your next court date will be April 25th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. If you are in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing. If you have posted bond and are released, then you will be required to appear, that'll be your responsibility. And if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Nolly, back. You're next.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Kelsey Delmanoli.
Mr. Benelli, this is the time for your initial appearance. You're here on new felony charges of possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you in this case. I have reviewed information from pretrial services as well as the interim complaint and the state's recommendation that you be released to pretrial services. I am inclined to release you to pretrial services. Does anyone need to be heard further?
No.
No, Your Honor.
So I will order and is let me just double check here.
Yeah. Your Honor, it seems to be a federal probation hold.
Oh, that's great. This is that one.
So if the court is inclined to, given that he can't be released because of that hold, I would ask for a $50 bond just so that he gets the back time.
Yep, I will order a bond of $50, cash or secured. Pretrial services, if posted, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. Your next court date will be April 25th at 1:30. And I can't see right now if this I should set a steps hearing.
I can make this bond right now.
Let me just.
All right, so I'm going over. That bond is
Yeah, fixed.
Yeah, I'm trying to speed the shit up. I'm not trying to answer all these fucking questions. Yeah, it's just you.
Great. It looks like there's a possibility of steps eligibility. Would you like me to set a steps hearing?
I just told you I'm trying to answer the question. No.
Okay. All right. Then your next court date is April 25th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. Thank you. You're excused.
Colin.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning. My name is Colin Bodley.
Mr. Bodley, this is the time for your initial appearance. You were here this morning on charges of disorderly conduct and recklessly displaying a weapon. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the public defender to represent you in this case. We're going to talk about your conditions of release this morning, and I have reviewed the interim complaint describing the circumstances surrounding your arrest. I have also reviewed information provided by pretrial services, which lets me know whether you have any previous criminal history.
Which I don't. Right, Your Honor.
It would also let me know if you have any delinquency history. It lets me know if you were able to provide any information about your ties to the community and whether your references were able to verify that information. It also contains their assessments and recommendations. Let's see. And I have also reviewed the state's recommendation. The state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $3,500 and if posted that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard any further?
Your Honor, this person was not just engaged in disorderly conduct, he was doing it with a weapon. And the fact is, Your Honor, the court did mention whether or not he had a juvie record, and the answer to that is yes. So it would appear he's also it may be the case that he's also a prohibited possessor. It's not entirely clear, but that's also a possibility. There's no charge at present, but it is a distinct possibility. And essentially, Your Honor, with his record and that being a violent record, the fact is he's upgrading to being disorderly and violent using a weapon, and therefore the state makes the $3,500 bond recommendation.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, we're asking for release to pretrial services here. Mr. Bodley's a young man. While he has evidently a juvenile record, that's something that is in his past because he's an adult now. He's completed probation. This would be his first felony level offense as an adult. And so I don't believe, absent dangerous nature allegations here, that he would actually be prison only at trial. In fact, I think it'd be the opposite. I think he'd be eligible for probation at trial. And so, here we don't have a listed victim. We've got some conduct that the state has alleged but hasn't proven. And we've got someone who is not a prohibited possessor, not charged as a prohibited possessor, and certainly isn't. Somebody's juvenile record doesn't automatically make them a prohibited possessor, and the state should know that, seeing as they're the ones in charge of charging these cases. And I think that is, in fact, what's been made clear, because there isn't a prohibited possessor charge. And so I would really strongly urge the court to evaluate Mr. Bodley's case and with any initial appearance, with what the charges actually are, not what they may be or possibly could be, or perhaps could have been charged as but weren't. And so, under the allegations the state has made, we've got, somebody who has not, victimized a person that the state has identified. They're not a danger to any individual alleged victim there. This is somebody who is a young man who wants to stay. His mother has indicated that she would be more than willing to make sure that he comes to and from his court dates, provide that transportation so he can, remain out, checking in with pretrial, participating in his case. This is somebody that doesn't need to be in jail, Your Honor. I think that the supervision of pretrial services is going to be more than sufficient here.
Thank you.
Judge, I would note, while defense was speaking, I did log back into pretrial, and one of his juvie charges was indeed ag assault on a peace officer. And since I don't have ready electronic access to his juvie record, there very well may be a prohibited possessor charge coming. I don't know. But at present, he's also got another for theft. So, Your Honor, he's getting quite a start after getting the proverbial clean slate when he hit 18. He's getting quite a start in demonstrating that he is a danger to the community. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask both counsel to make sure that they just refer to what's necessary for the case, not refer to each other's arguments, and unless absolutely necessary. And remember that I am able to read all of this information. Okay? So I have a couple of questions for defense. Number one, does the defendant live alone or with other relatives or roommates? And number two, is there a bond he feels he would be able to post?
And she can give me rides to court, and
He is living with his girlfriend currently,
my mom's 5 minutes up the road.
and he's just down the street from his family, from his mother, who's, as the court knows, has indicated she's willing to help with transport. As for a bond, we'd be asking for a $500 bond, cash or secured, if the court is going to place a bond. But I would note, Your Honor, we are reiterating our request for pretrial release.
Thank you. So I am going to order a bond of $500 cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You must submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. Sir, if there are any firearms in your home or in your possession when you are released from jail, you must surrender them. You may not possess any firearms, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date is going to be April 25th. That is at 1:30 in the afternoon for a preliminary hearing. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest, okay?
Okay, how does the bond work? Like, they bring $500? Like,
Yeah, there's a couple of things about the defenders and things. Should attorney. It can explain to you.
thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Cruz, Leonardo.
Please state your name.
Leonardo Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on felony charges of unlawful use of a means of transportation, tampering with evidence, and aggravated robbery. You have the right to remain silent on those charges. You also, anything you say can and will be used against you. And you have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. And then let me look, you've got another. You also have charges regarding watercraft speed restrictions out of another county. And it looks like those were in warrant status. So I'm going to come back to those after we deal with the new felony charges. So in preparing to discuss your conditions of release, I have reviewed the interim complaint, which describes the circumstances surrounding the charges. I have also reviewed information provided about you by pretrial services, which lets me know whether you have any criminal history of any kind, whether you have any, whether you were able to provide any information regarding your ties to the community, and what their assessments and recommendations were. I've also reviewed the state's recommendation, which is that you be held on a bond of $1,500 and, if posted, released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Thank you very much. And defense.
Yes, Your Honor, we're asking for pretrial services release. Mr. Cruz has no felony criminal history, scores very low on the NCA and FDA scales. He's got a job, he's working, he's actually recently moved back to Arizona. And so, there's nothing in his background or nothing in his history that indicate he'd be anything but, a compliant supervisee of pretrial services. It sounds like, he's busy, he's working. Do you have family?
Yeah. Oh, not in Tucson. They're in Phoenix.
Gotcha. So he's got family in Arizona. They're up in Phoenix, but I think pretrial services is more than sufficient here, Your Honor. Given his, as what the state has alleged to be significantly lesser involvement in this incident, and given his history, I think pretrial services is a good fit.
Thank you. And you said he moved back to Arizona. Was he in Arizona before Florida?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And did his family remain in Arizona while he was in Florida?
That's correct.
I am, Mr. Cruz, going to give you one opportunity on pretrial services. You'll be ordered to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. I know it's the other person who is alleged to have had a firearm. However, I am ordering that you may not possess any firearms. If when you are released, there are any firearms available to you, you must surrender them to local law enforcement. You may not possess any firearms, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date is going to be April 25th. That's at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing at Pima County Justice Court. You are required to appear at that hearing and all future hearings in your case. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You're excused.
How about the other time?
It's not always.
It's a misdemeanor.
The other Yes. So that's actually, so there's a warrant out of that other county. And I believe when you're released here, you would probably be released to that other county, not just out into the community. Let me double check something real quick. Based on what the charge was.
I just take them into Phoenix and I was testing me I was just to get okay into bats and the judge and Tara told me about that because that's it. That's like half of the kids. They do observation. That's why he's a Phoenix. To not Phoenix. Yes, okay. That's why it's a Phoenix. They just came. Yeah. So,
Okay. Does the jail have any information about this out-of-county charge? It looks like it came through to the clerk's office as a felony, but
No, it's a misdemeanor, Your Honor. It's a class 2 misdemeanor.
that's what we thought. All right. And I'm just waiting to see if I can get a court date for that case. Or
You're released.
all right. And then do I need to put anything, or you'll make it? So I am going to order that you're released on that warrant. In Wickenburg is going to be April 28th at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Yeah. Okay. If you fail to appear for that court date, they will likely issue another warrant. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Good morning. Please state your name.
Roy Kale.
Mr. Kale, this is the time for your initial appearance on a couple of different matters. We have charges out of Tucson City Court that were in warrant status for obstruction or refusal. And then we have new felony charges of possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. Actually, those are from January. And then new charges, charges from 2023 out of Pima County Superior Court for unlawful flight from law enforcement. I think that's everything. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney on the felony charges, and I am appointing the legal defender's office to represent you. You also have counsel seated next to you for today's hearing. I have reviewed information from pretrial services. I have also reviewed the interim complaint on the possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia charges. It looks like you may be eligible for STEPS diversion screening. That is a pre-indictment diversion program that involves substance abuse treatment. If you were to be accepted into that program and then successfully completed, it's possible the state would not go forward with these new felony drug charges. Would you like me to set a STEPS hearing?
Yes, please.
So that'll be on April 22nd at 9 a.m. That will be to determine if you are eligible for the program. You'll also have the chance to speak with an attorney about the program and speak with service providers and pretrial services at that hearing. And it looks like the state is requesting that you be held on a bond of $2,500 on the older charge of unlawful flight from law enforcement, for which a warrant was issued for your arrest after you failed to appear. But they would be okay with you being released to pretrial services on the new drug charges. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Thank you. And defense.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd ask just that he be released to pretrial services in the older matter. The reason being, it just makes sense to have him start the STEPS process. As if he's held on one case and not the other one, he won't begin the STEPS proceedings until after he's released in the other case, whenever that may be. So I think the thing to do here, since the state has been willing to offer STEPS in the new case, would be to release him on both so that he can get that ball rolling, get access to treatment, and deal with his cases while he's going through that process.
I will be there.
And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I would just ask that you release him to pretrial as well as on the new case as the old.
Let me. So I do have some concerns about your ability to appear for court, sir, and also the danger you yourself were in at the time that you were arrested. Do you have anywhere to go?
I could stay with a friend. I mean, I'll be in court. I promise. I will.
All right.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna lose everything if I'm out.
So I am going to give you one chance to be released on these charges to pretrial services. If you fail to appear, I'm certain a warrant will issue for your arrest, sir, and that the next time the judge will hold you, given the failure to appear. Your court date for STEPS is going to be April 22nd at 9 a.m. And then for your arraignment in your older case, your court date will be April 22nd at 1:30 p.m. So that's the same day. At 9 a.m., you'll be screened to see if you are eligible for the pre-indictment diversion program, and at 1:30 is your arraignment for the unlawful flight case. You must submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. And then on the drug charges, same conditions. Your court date for those is going to be 3 days later on April 25th at 1:30 for your preliminary hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And let's see. And that's where the steps hearing is as well, not on the other case. And then on your Tucson City Court charge, your next court date is going to be May 15th at 2 o'clock before Judge Hale for a pretrial conference. I'm ordering that you abide by any previously ordered conditions of release. No alcohol or illegal drugs. And if you fail to appear for that court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. And sir, when you are released, there is a trailer outside the jail. It's called the Transition Center. You may want to go in there to see if they can help you with any resources for places to stay and situations that may make it more likely that you are able to appear for your court dates. So you now have 4 different dates in 3 different cases. I don't want to see you back here next week, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Stay on. Don't see your shirt. Yep. Down the steps, toilet, to the side.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Nathaniel Leon, ma'am.
Mr. Leon, you're here this morning on charges of theft of means of transportation. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and I have reviewed the interim complaint. I have also reviewed information provided by pretrial services about you, which includes their assessments and recommendations. It includes any information you may have provided them, and it lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history. I've also reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $10,000, and if you were able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
One moment, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yes, based on this person, we're looking at, there's a warrant, they're on felony probation, and he has priors. I don't see a known residence. Prison time seems likely, if not mandatory. And also looking at the interim in this matter, what I am seeing is, while there was just theft of means charge, it also looks to be this person was also quite indifferent to public safety by tearing through town, and it was just the state's luck that he happened to almost clip a couple of undercovers. 10,000.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, given that we're looking at a probation hold, I would ask for a nominal bond in this case, if the court be inclined to impose a, say, $5,000 bond. Something that if he does get the probation case resolved, he might have the opportunity of posting the bond and securing his release in this case. Just realistically, he needs to get the back time on this case if there's a probation hold, and it seems likely that there is. So for these reasons, Your Honor, I would encourage the court to impose a nominal bond if the court is so inclined.
All right, I am going to order a bond of $5,000 cash or secured. If you're able to post that bond and nothing else is holding you, you'll be released to pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs. Don't drive without a valid license. No firearms or weapons. Do not have any contact with the alleged victim. Do not return to the incident location. so wherever the car is alleged to have been taken from, and contact, if you do not have a probation hold before you are released, then contact your assigned probation officer on the first working day following release from custody. Your next court date will be April 25th at 1:30. That is for a preliminary hearing, and if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
All right.
Sean?
Yes, I meant to tell you that. And then I think I gave Cruz the out date instead of his co-defendant. Right. Counsel, for Mr. Cruz, I think I was supposed to give him the same court date as his co-defendant, and so they're going to change his court date.
Okay.
Take some steps to make sure he understands that.
Well, they've already pulled him out of the room, so that's
Okay, thank you.
so long as the jail tells him and he gets his paperwork, then we should be fine.
All right, thank you. Please state your name.
Let's give it over, Sean. Ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Michon. This is the time for your initial appearance. You are here today on charges of aggravated assault, causing temporary disfigurement, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument, possession of a dangerous drug, possession of a narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, and disorderly conduct with a weapon. These are all felony offenses. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney in these matters, and it is ordered appointing the public defender to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and I have reviewed the interim complaint. I have also reviewed information from pretrial services that lets me know if you have any criminal history, what the felony criminal history looks like. If so, it lets me know what information you've provided to pretrial services about your connections to the community, and it also includes their assessments and recommendations. I have also reviewed the state's recommendation, and the state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $50,000 and released to pretrial services if you are able to post that bond. Would the state like to be heard further?
Your Honor, other than it looks like he absolutely sliced open somebody's face. Now, the numbers say a laceration on the left side of cheek of approximately 7 inches, and the wound required 8 exterior stitches and an unknown number of internals. I really hope that that is 7 centimeters, because 8 stitches, this person is going to have permanent disfigurement, not to mention the fact that he re-engaged the victim after the victim tried to get away. She tried to defend herself, the victim, and he also had looks to be upwards of 6 and change grams of meth, as well as some M30s. It's all on surveillance, Your Honor. This person is lucky to be alive, and they're going to go through the rest of their life not only with the psychological damage that this person's attack caused them, but also the fact that, I mean, a 7-inch laceration. This person was essentially, he slashed a new mouth into the side of her face. This is absolutely terrifying that he was, 1, carrying a knife on the bus, 2, was willing to use it, and 3, opened up her face like this. This is amazing. This is terrifying. 50,000.
Thank you. Defense.
One last thing. He is clearly a danger to society. He is clearly a danger to the victim. And he's also has a documented history of failing to appear. This man is a disaster waiting to happen.
Defense.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand the court is likely looking at imposing a bond here. The issue is Mr. Rochon lives on a, did I say it's Rochon?
Yeah.
Rochon. Okay. Mr. Rochon lives on a fixed income. He receives Social Security checks. He's not in a position where he could afford anywhere close to what the state is asking for in terms of a bond. I understand the allegations are serious. It's certainly a difficult position for Mr. Rochon to be in, as well as the alleged victim, obviously. But the fact of the matter is that that 50,000 is far and above his ability to afford. Like I said, this is an elderly man. He's retired. He's living on Social Security. I ask that the court takes that into consideration here and coming to whatever bond number the court arrives at. This is somebody who is of very significantly limited financial means, and I think needs some support out in the community. And so the only way he's going to get that is if he has the opportunity to be released at some later date, either through a bond or revisiting the release conditions. And so, be that as it may, Your Honor, I'd ask for a significantly reduced bond such that he might be able to afford.
That's,
Great.
yeah,
I'm going to order that Mr. Rochon is held on a bond of $25,000 cash and secured. If he's able to post, he'll be released to pretrial services. He'll have to submit to monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not possess any firearms or weapons. If there are any firearms in your possession, you must surrender them to local law enforcement. Your next court date is going to be April 25th at 1:30. It is for a preliminary hearing. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yep. 63 years.
Sure, the record shows March 20th, 2024 for an arraignment and a warrant issued, and you were arrested and released to pretrial services on a different matter, and then that you failed to appear on May 6th, 2024 and a warrant issued and then was later quashed. All right. You're excused for today. Thank you.
What you do?
Yeah.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Rhodes.
Ms. Rhodes, this is the time set for your initial appearance on a couple of different matters. You have new felony charges of arson and endangerment. And then you also have a charge of assault, which was in warrant status out of Tucson City Court. That's a misdemeanor charge.
I'm sorry, I have a charge of assault.
Yes.
Since when?
That's
I see. I show that this charge is from 2023 and that you did appear in custody on May 13th of 2023. You were released on your promise to appear, and then you did not appear for your next.
That can't be right, considering I was in.
I'll stop you there and say that you have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney in the felony matters, and I am appointing the legal defender's office to represent you in those matters. Today, we're going to talk about your conditions of release.
Okay.
I have reviewed the interim complaint, which describes the circumstances of the arrest for the new felony charges.
Okay.
And then I am also reviewing, if it will let me, the information provided by pretrial services.
Okay.
Let me try to start that over again.
Yes.
All right, so that did come up, and so that lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history. It lets me know whether you were able to provide information about your ties to the community and such things as that, or any references that you were able to provide, and it lets me know their assessments and recommendations.
Okay.
And then I was also able to review the recommendation from the state. The state is recommending that you be held on a bond of $25,000, and if you are able to post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services.
Thank you for that. That's funny.
And would the state like to be heard further?
Your Honor, this individual, let me pull up this person set fire to her own property, causing $100,000 damage, allegedly, in the apartment building, and put 20 families out of their homes due to damage to the overall building. That's a risk to the community any day of the week, bar none. We have a history here. There is misdemeanor records. We're looking at, given all of the charges, we're looking at an F2, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there are additional ones, but either way, she doesn't have a residence because it went up in smoke. We're worried about both risk to the community and a flight risk, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I was good. No, I was just good.
Thank you. Defense, do you need a moment? Just
if I could, Your Honor.
You can take a moment. Make sure to mute.
I can afford that. There's nothing that I have no kind of income.
Okay, Your Honor, I think we're ready. Thank you for giving us that opportunity, by the way.
Sure.
So we're asking for pretrial services release here. I think it's very clear that this was a difficult situation for everybody involved. And I think that what's clear here is that Ms. Rhodes, could probably benefit from, the supervision of pretrial services to make sure that she continues to participate in her case. And one thing that we spoke about is getting access to behavioral health or substance abuse help while she's out on pretrial release. And I think that that's going to be, obviously to her benefit, but it is to the community's benefit as well, because she's going to be someone who is going to have that supervision, have that additional access to resources and services that it sounds like are necessary here, so that she can continue to participate in her case. I will say she's not a flight risk here. She is somebody of limited financial means. She's currently not working and is dealing with health issues. And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I think that pretrial services is going to be more than sufficient to ensure her cooperation and participation in her case, and keep the community safe as well.
It seems to me that probably some fairly intensive treatment is required for Miss Rhodes, but it also seems to me like there's a very significant danger to both the community and probably to herself if I simply order her released here today.
Can I just say something briefly?
Rise against.
Do you think you know what your client wants to say, counsel, or do you want another moment to speak with her?
If we could have just a second.
Behavioral health.
All right. So what Ms. Rhodes and I were just discussing is she's been to Palo Verde before. She's had a really great track record at some of these behavioral health homes that she's been at. She wanted to go to Palo Verde. That's what she wants to do. She wants to get out of Tucson. And so those are, some additional reasons, Your Honor. I think Palo Verde would be a good fit. She knows exactly what she needs to do to seek treatment and seek help, and she wants to take those steps and to do that. The problem is she can't do that if she's held in the Pima County Jail. She can't begin that process truly unless and until she's released. And so we're asking that you do that now rather than keep her in and her have to start that process at some later date.
And Your Honor, the state would like to be heard on that point.
Well, I'm not going to order release to pretrial today. I do think that I need something to be in place a little firmer than this. So I'm going to order a bond of $10,000 cash or secured, released to pretrial services if posted. Monitoring or treatment is directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. I don't know if there's anything left of the apartment building and if anyone's able to go there. I'm going to order that you're not allowed to have any contact with any of the alleged victims and you're not allowed to return to the incident location. If there is an opportunity for you to pick up any belongings that may still be at that location, then you may return one time with a law enforcement escort to retrieve those belongings. You'll take my court order to the nearest police station to do that, if that's a possibility. And your next court date is going to be April 25th. at 1:30 in the afternoon. For these charges. And you'll have an opportunity to work with counsel to make other arrangements if appropriate and see if the court will approve those at a future date. On your Tucson City Court case, I am going to order a bond of $25 cash or secured, possess or consume no alcohol, commit no acts of domestic violence, no contact with the alleged victim in that case. And that person is Eugene Kennedy. So no.
I don't even remember that.
Right. No contact with Eugene Kennedy. Do not go to his residence or workplace. And I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you in that case. And if you remain in custody, your court date will be April 25th at 1:45. If you are released prior to that, then your next court date for Tucson City Court will be May 12th at 2 p.m. Either way, that's with Judge Maldonado. Okay, if you fail to appear for any court dates after being released, a warrant can issue for your arrest.
What does this mean?
Thank you, Judge.
Good morning, sir. I think the jail is still muted, but once unmuted, would you please state your name?
Joseph Sepulveda.
Thank you. You're here this morning for your initial appearance on charges of possession of a narcotic drug for sale, possession of a dangerous drug for sale, possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, possession or use of a weapon in a drug offense, and possession of drug paraphernalia. These are all felony charges. You have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you in this matter. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today, and I have reviewed the interim complaint describing the circumstances surrounding your arrest. I have also reviewed information provided by pretrial services. That lets me know whether you have any felony criminal history, and if so, what that looks like. It also lets me know any information you were able to provide about your connection to the community, and it also contains their assessments and recommendations. The state is requesting that you be held on a bond of $50,000 and if released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
Yes, Your Honor. Search incident to arrest. This defendant was allegedly found with just shy of 400 grams of methamphetamines, a stolen handgun, a little over 5 grams of heroin, 11 grams plus of M30s, $400, almost $500 in small bills. He is a convicted felon out of New Mexico. We have every reason to believe that that he was dealing, that he was armed, and Your Honor, we consider he has ties to New Mexico. Clearly, he is a flight risk and is likely, given the quantity we're looking at here, looking at mandatory prison time, and based on that, state made its recommendation.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, I'm asking for a bond of $25,000. I know that the court is likely to impose a bond in this case. The thing I'd like to point out is Mr. Sepulveda lives in New Mexico. He's a New Mexico resident, and so he doesn't have any ties here. And so, you know, in some sense, he's disadvantaged on that point, that he doesn't have someone here that he could be released to, or that he could talk to about negotiating his release and securing his bond. It's going to be people from New Mexico who are going to have to find a way to, post his bond and try to get him out. I understand the allegations that the state has brought are quite serious. I will say, though, that, his financial circumstances are what the court needs to also take into account and weigh versus the allegations here. And Mr. Sepulveda is in no position, or is anyone in his family in any position, to post a $50,000 bond. And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I'm asking you to consider a $25,000 bond, which will allow him to, actually pay an amount that is a significant amount for him in his circumstances to secure his release, participate in his case, whether that's here in Tucson or in New Mexico, travel with whatever the trial court may or may not allow, but allow him that opportunity to potentially secure his release, return home to his family, and participate in his case in a manner that the court sees fit. So for these reasons, I think that $25,000 is a number that Mr. Sepulveda might be able to afford and secure his release.
Thank you. So I am going to order a bond of $35,000 cash or secured. Pretrial services, if that is posted, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. You must surrender any firearms that are in your possession if you're released. Your next court date is going to be April 25th at 1:30. That's for a preliminary hearing. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused.
Smith.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Anthony Smith.
Mr. Smith, this is the time for your initial appearance on on charges of unlawful possession of a narcotic drug and unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and it looks like you may be eligible for the STEPS pre-indictment diversion program. That is a program that involves substance abuse treatment. If you are accepted into the program and successfully completed, it is possible the state will not go forward with these charges. Are you interested in that program?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the state is recommending that you be released to pretrial services, so I am inclined to release you to pretrial services. Does anyone need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. So you will be released to the custody of pretrial services, required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. Your next court date will be that steps hearing to determine your eligibility. That's on April 22nd at 9 a.m. Pretty sure you only get one shot at that, so make sure you appear for that hearing. And then we need to set a preliminary hearing as well. Usually that needs to be set within 20 days. However, to give time for your eligibility for the STEPS program to be assessed, and if appropriate for you to begin that program, would you waive the 20 days to 45?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we will set your preliminary hearing for May 30th at 1:30. If you are accepted into the diversion program, it's likely that hearing will not go forward. However, if it does go forward and you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Brian Velasquez.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Brian Velasquez.
Mr. Velasquez, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here this morning for failing to return rented property. That is a felony offense. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today, and I have reviewed the interim complaint describing the circumstances surrounding these charges. And I have reviewed information provided about you by pretrial services. That includes whether you have any felony criminal history, and if so, what that looks like, whether you were able to provide information about your ties to the community or any references to verify your information, and the assessments and recommendations by pretrial services. The state is requesting that you be held on a bond of $2,500 and if released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
And defense?
Yes, Your Honor. We're just asking for release to pretrial services. Mr. Velasquez has no failures to appear. This is not a violent crime. This is not a DV crime or any sort of physical altercation. This was, as the state alleges, failing to return a U-Haul that had been rented. And so, clearly, Mr. Velasquez is not a flight risk. He lives here in town. He's not a danger to the community. I think if the court were to order him not to engage in renting property, don't have any contact with U-Haul, I'm sure that would be sufficient to ensure U-Haul safety, from any sort of other alleged crimes related to this sort of incident. And so for these reasons, Your Honor, I think pretrial services is enough, given the lack of failure to appear history and the non-dangerous nature of this offense. The lack of real criminal activity on the part of Mr. Velasquez, I think is, pretrial services is a good fit in this case.
Thank you. Mr. Velasquez, I am going to give you a chance to be released to pretrial services. You'll be required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You may not possess any alcohol or illegal drugs. You may not possess any firearms or weapons while you're on release for this offense. You may not have any contact with the alleged victim. Do not return to the incident location, and that would be the U-Haul location. Your next court date is going to be on May 5th. That is at 1:30 in the afternoon. That is for a preliminary hearing. It's possible that court date will change, so stay in touch with your attorney. If you fail to appear for a future court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand? All right, thank you. You're excused. Thanks, you too. That's all I have. Does anyone have anything else?
No, Judge. Good day.
Thank you,
Welcome
Judge.
back, Mr. Poston.
Thank you. Spain was beautiful.
Sure it was. Have a good one, everyone.